What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another Vintage Kenner Star Wars market update. Before I begin, let me say thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys allow me to make more and better videos. I also crossed 3,300 subscribers for my channel, which is mind-blowing. So I did do a drawing for the case shell sliding acrylic case Daxter Kirby. You were the big winner. Please reach out to me by email at actionfiguregrader@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I will drop that awesome case shell in the mail to you. For those of you looking for sliding acrylic cases, be sure to contact Case Shells, which is caseshells@yahoo.com. He's got more of the clamshell type, the softer plastic ones. He's got more of those on the way. They're just he's out right now, and they're kind of still in shipping from overseas. The vast majority of the items we're going to cover today are, well, really everything, are packaged goods, okay? I had like 50 or 60 different items I wanted to talk about. I'm going to have to divide it into two videos. So today's video is all about packaged mint on cards and a few playset type items. But before that, I wanted to show you this one, and I can't remember who sent me this, and I apologize that I don't. But one of you guys sent me this, and I was laughing so hard that I had to show it on the channel. This is a vintage Star Wars blue snaggletooth. This is the burnt head variant. As you can see, somebody decided to set this one on fire, and it's just hilarious that somebody had one of these and then decided to actually list this for sale. But that's what they did. It was at auction. It sold for $137.50 for that piece of junk. Who would buy this? I have no idea, but apparently somebody wanted it. And they'll probably get it graded, and it'll get an AFA 10. But it's just hilarious. You never see something like that badly damaged, but it's pretty cool to look at. All right, so now let's dig into the real items here. We've got everything from ESBs all the way to Power of the Force items. And get ready to have your mind blown with some of these prices. This was an orange-haired Luke Farm Boy. Orange hair. You'd never see these mint on card anymore. And this was a pretty nice example, unpunched. It did have some wear around the blister, but give me a break. It's a farm boy that's got the orange hair. And the price did not disappoint. $4,660 US, 62 bids. Now, given the fact that these loose graded, a very high grade can sell for $5,000, given that this one's mint on card for $4,660, that's a pretty good price, really, assuming that it's a legitimate orange hair. It looks like it is to me, just based on the photos, but it's just hard for me to really tell. I'm not enough of an expert on these Luke Farm Boys to verify whether this is like a light brown hair or some kind of paint degradation, but to me it looks like the legit orange hair Luke Farm Boy, so it's a beautiful item. Here was another one. This was an AFA graded die-cast cloud car. This is the ESB card back here, and I don't know, I think this is the US card. Yeah, this is the US card, 11 back, and it was 80 plus grade, so very, very high grade, archival case. 80, 80, 85 were the subgrades. It was listed for $2,000 US, best offer accepted. I did look that number up. It was $1,500. $1,500 took that one home for 80 plus grade. And quite honestly, I would have paid that all day long if I had the money for it. This is a beautiful crystal clear blister. That's as pretty as it gets right there. And beautiful card art with the Bespin scene behind that. Here was a unpunched La Guerre des Etoiles French Meccano rectangular card Jawa. And, it's hard to tell based on the photos, just given how dark the photos are, but it looks like it might have some yellowing to the blister. Very difficult to tell. These photos are just terrible. But it sold for $589 US. Canadian dollars, it sold for $753. 34 bids on March 6th. Really nice, clean card, and it's not particularly difficult to find this one, but, it's a foreign card. It's a square card Meccano. Can't go wrong with it, and the price reflected that, $589. That's a pretty good price to me for what looks to be in pretty nice condition. A couple of mint on card Bossk figures I actually also sold. This was an AFA 80 grade Bossk. It was yellowed, but this is the 47 back 4-LOM offer. That one was $580 on 19 bids. That sold on March 1st. And then also a Return of the Jedi version sold. This one it might have a clear blister. Difficult to tell for sure, but it looks clear blister to me. It might have some slight yellowing going on there, but really nice 65 back B version. You can see there's no blacked out Ewoks on the back of the card. Hint, hint as to who I'm referring to there. This one was down in Australia. It sold for 690 Australian dollars or 507 US dollars. That sat on the market for a little bit. It was listed a little bit higher than that, and it came down a little bit. But that's a really nice example there of a 65 back Bosk. I was tempted on that one. Here was an AFA graded Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett Slave 1 AFA 75. And this was a mint and sealed box example. And it was at auction too, which you don't find very often. Usually it's got a really high price. The final sales price of $2,575, I think that price is probably good. That's a pretty fair price, really. I think if you hit 80 grade for these slave ones, you start pushing into $3,000, $3,500 pretty easily. We've documented a few on the channel that have sold that high. So $2,600 is a pretty reasonable number in my mind for the slave one, mint and sealed box, and fairly high grade. This one is easily the highlight of the weekend, and it's gotten a lot of press and a lot of attention on Facebook, but this was an AFA 90 grade, 31 back B Luke Skywalker in his Bespin fatigues, and this is the walking alternate card back. Just an incredible grade there. Look at, it's got the archival case, beautiful crystal clear blister, unpunched, no price tags. The subgrades were 90, 90, and 90. And as you can imagine, it sold for big money at auction. It sold for $9,125. That's easily eclipses any other to my knowledge, any other kind of ESB card back that has sold here in recent memory, if not ever, for a retail release. And that is just an incredible price. But it's a one-of-one unicorn type of item, as my buddy Scott said. You're not going to find many of these on the census. I haven't looked it up, and I don't even know if I could if I wanted to, but I can't imagine there's more than one or two of these out there. But an absolutely epic item, and the price did not disappoint. $9,125. Just an insane item. Here was a mint and sealed box Return of the Jedi speeder bike. This one was one that was pretty tempting. It did have the clearance sticker that kind of blocks some of the card or the packaging art, but it's still pretty cool, and it was in excellent condition. The back of the flap, which is usually badly folded, was not folded at all. So pretty nice condition, probably like an 80 plus at minimum, I would think, for the grade. That sold for $175. I think that price, you could probably push that into the $250 to $300 range, if not for that clearance price tag on the front there. But it was very tempting, though, at that price point. That's a pretty attractive price for the speeder bike. Here was a Return of the Jedi Squid Head clear blister, which is tough to find. It did, unfortunately, have a cut proof of purchase on the back there, as you can see there. So this is the 65 back A, and it does have the blacked out Ewoks. So that's how you can tell the difference between the A and the B back. But unfortunately, it did have the proof of purchase cut out, and the price, of course, reflected that problem. It sold for 122 US dollars or 93 Great British pounds plus shipping. Pretty nice item, though, with the clear blister squid head. Here was a graded AFA 85 8D8. We all know that 8D8's kind of increased in popularity since he's made his reappearance on the Book of Boba Fett. It did have a pretty heavily yellowed blister, which seems to be the common problem for a lot of 8D8s. 77 back A, it sold for 338 US dollars, 21 bids. A pretty fair price overall. This was a 79 back UKG graded AT-AT driver. it looks like it was, UKG 75. The subgrades were 75, 75, 85. And it was the 79 back A. So pretty nice example there. I don't remember if I have this one or not. I know I have a Return of the Jedi AT-AT driver, but I think it's a 77 back if memory serves. But that one sold for 295 Great British pounds or 389 US dollars plus shipping. Pretty nice looking AT-AT driver. This is another one that really surprised me on the upper end, but I guess I shouldn't be too surprised with how beautiful the item is. This was an AFA 85 Kenner Canadian Darth Vader. It's listed as a clear blister, but it looks like it might have some yellowing going on there on the blister. Very faint, but nevertheless, I mean, it's a foreign card back, just really beautiful. He only included shots of the front, and then the very back here, it's got the foreign language there. It would have been nice to see a picture of the back, if only just to drool over it. But it was the beautiful Canadian version. That one sold for 1,009 US dollars. So very, very high grade foreign carback Vader with a semi-clear blister. It's going to command big money. It always will. A couple of Boba Fett's also sold, and as you'd expect, the prices were as ridiculous as in the past, but this was an AFA 80 Boba Fett 65 back A. Yellowed blister, but the subgrades were 80, 85, 90, so extremely high grades. That price actually surprised me on the low end, $3,550 US. I would have expected quite a bit higher than that for given the subgrades for that beautiful Boba Fett, but it was punched, but I'm just surprised it didn't go higher than that. And then also a desert scene, AFA 85 from the same seller, gorgeous. So he had both card back variations. Really, really nice example. That one did kind of hit the price point I was expecting, $4,050 US. So a couple of really nice examples. I think if you're the seller and you got these kind of high grade Boba Fetts, given what Boba Fett prices have done, especially after the Disney Plus show, now's as good a time as any to kind of cash out on these. I mean, you made $7 grand selling 2 mint on card items. It's kind of hard to pass that kind of money up, but beautiful, beautiful items he had. Here was another one that was a beautiful shocker in terms of the final sales price. This went for way higher than I expected. I was expecting kind of $1,500-ish, but it was an AFA 80 plus unpunched clear Luke Jedi Knight Power of the Force 92 back, 80 plus grade. Card got an 80, blister 80, figure 85. Absolutely stunning, and it was truly a clear blister. Power of the Force. It hadn't, kind of yellowed since grading at all. Archival case. I guess my $1,500 number was way too low because it sold for $2,750 plus shipping. And you don't find that one with a clear blister very often, but that was a pretty shocking sales price to say the least. Here was another one that kind of surprised me a little bit on the upper end, if only because of the grade. This was an AFA 60 grade Tig From. We've documented several that are very, very expensive, and this one did have the clear blister, which we talked about in the past, and Blacked Out Ewoks pointed out that these were made in Mexico, so they tend to keep their clear blister pretty easily. But as you can see there on the logo for Star Wars Droids, someone did have a hole punch on there. And people have asked me in the past, how does that affect grading? Well, this one did have a litho tear in the upper right-hand corner on the front of the card back, along with that hole punch. So that's going to really ding the score. And as a result, the card score got a 60, and the overall got a 60, even though the blister score was 85 and the figure score was 80. So because of that damage and that low sub score, it brought the overall score down because you can't call it anything other than what it is, which is what it is, a 60 grade, because of that damage, especially the hole punch on the card back is going to bring it down to a 60 every single time. So a really nice item that presents a lot better than the overall 60 score. The two larger subgrades make it present a lot better, but because of that 60, that's what held it down. But the winning price, I think, reflected the fact that it presents better than a 60, $711. An AFA 80 we documented sold for about $1,100 to $1,200 here over the last few months ago. So $700, I think, given that it presents better than the average 60, is probably fair, to be honest with you. Here was another one that sat for a little bit. I was watching this one and was tempted, but just kind of not right timing for me. But this was a beautiful unpunched AFA 85 Barada. Nice last 17 figure. It was yellowed, but fairly lightly yellowed. So I was kind of tempted on this one. It was $650 with free shipping. So not exactly cheap, put it that way, but a really nice example. And there were a number of loose graded, really nice high grade, loose graded last 17 figures that we'll cover in a video later this week when I do a separate video for just loose graded figures. But I wanted to get out and get you guys some more market data because there were some absolute stunners this weekend. And clearly the Luke, if I can find him again, this Luke was the highlight of the weekend. Just an absolutely incredible item that has certainly raised some eyebrows within the Facebook collecting community for that final sales price of $9,125. Just a stunning final sales price number. That's all I really had for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.